Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots, and I just love that song. You know, you try to find some bumper music, kind of theme music, and you go out on the internet, and there's hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of choices. And then that one just zinged me after listening to a bunch of them, and it just sounded, you know, it's kind of hokey, it's kind of elevator music, I get that, but it's also upbeat and light and fresh, and in fact, that's the name of it. I think it's called Fresh and Fun, and so that's what I wanted this show to be, is to be fresh and fun, and, you know, even though we're idiots. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here. If you're watching us live, delighted to have you. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. And where is it? There it is. Yeah, there we go. easternshorebroadcasting.com. And you can get in on the chat, which is not appearing right now. And you notice we put a little scroll across the bottom. If that annoys you, just take some duct tape and run it across the bottom of your screen. I'm teasing, of course. If you're watching this after the fact, delighted to have you. Hope you'll subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. We're at Streaming Idiots on Facebook. It's a great group, and we'd love to have you be part of it. Today's show is our annual prediction show. That's right. Last year at this time, we had 10 predictions for 2017. And you can go back and find it in our archives. But I just thought I'd run through them real briefly and kind of give you an up or a down as to how we did. Some of them were like the first one. My first one was that live streaming via social media will expand and then die. And by the end of 2017, Facebook Live will just be a distant memory. Well, let's say we missed that one by just a little bit, did we? Goodness gracious, Facebook Live is just screaming with billions and billions of views and minutes watched and all that kind of stuff. And no, Facebook Live did not fail. So we missed that one. It was a long shot, but we knew it would. The second one was that social media, the folks that do live streaming and social media, you know, using their phone or something like that, eventually would ask the question, is this all there is? And yes, I think that came true. In fact, I think I welcome a number of you to our Streaming Idiots Facebook group that have come from other groups that primarily were using a phone as their primary method of live streaming, and have decided, you know, golly gee, I want to switch cameras, I want to have lower thirds, I want to play ads, I want to incorporate other audio and video and all this other fancy stuff that all these other people are doing. How are they doing it? Well, they're doing it with vMix. That's how they're doing it. They're doing it with vMix. And at some point, yeah, probably now is the time to do the full disclosure, isn't it? Yep. This is a giant infomercial for my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. This is full disclosure here, right in the middle of the show. And we do all sorts of things. We represent vMix and PTZ Optics and Magewell and Marshall and PI Engineering, the folks that make the X keys, and have a great time also designing and building streaming PCs for folks that need them. If an off-the-shelf thing won't work anymore, or if you need special assistance, we've got one on the workbench right now for a church in California. We'll be shipping out probably Monday, just depending on how the testing goes. But if you think you need some assistance in that area, give us a shout. It's Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Or you can go to the Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/groups/streaming idiots, I guess. It's got to be that simple. I get there, so it must be easy. I'm excited because coming up in January, we're offering 2 new classes in the Live Streaming Rookies series. Well, actually, one of them is new and one of them isn't. The isn't one is the introduction to live streaming. If you're just starting out and you're saying, oh my gosh, capture cards, cameras, microphones, CDNs, what is all this stuff? How does it work together? You know, what do I do? Well, that's the class you want to start with. That is the introduction to live streaming. It runs 6 weeks on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's $99, and you can get it in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Also, we're offering for the first time the sales and marketing class, sales and marketing for rookies, taught by Scott Pienta with Hillsdale TV and Hometown Media. So you want to take a serious look at that if you are in the, kind of that never land between a hobby and a profession, and you really want to bust out and get a lot of live streaming clients. You really want to take a long look at Scott's class, because it is just jam-packed full of ideas and methods to help folks that are not necessarily salespeople go out and sell their live streaming product. So that's something you may want to take a look at, and that's in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. All right, so that was the infomercial. That was the mercial part of the info. Now let's go back to the info. Really excited because last year we said, and this one we hit a home run on, number 3, we said more churches will engage in live streaming, and indeed they did, at least based on the sales of vMix to churches, PTZ optics cameras to churches, and complete live streaming gear systems to churches. Based on all that, we would say yes, indeed. In fact, we'll get to that more in just a second. I also said that all-in-one gear will fail or will fade, and that would be things like, at that point, vMix had an all-in-one system. Shortly after that, Wirecast came out with an all-in-one system. After vMix dropped it, 2 companies picked up the same kind of theme and are building an all-in-one system. And so I'm not sure whether I passed or failed on that. I saw that Wirecast was giving a 30% discount on their all-in-one system if you traded in your Wirecast license. So I'm not sure if that's an act of marketing genius or desperation. So we'll have to continue to watch that one and see. Number 5, I said that Switchboard would eclipse Restream.io, and I don't think that's the case. I think they're continuing to fight it out, and in fact, Restream may have a bit of an edge there. My 6th prediction last year was that thousands of people would start live streaming and they would be terrible at it. And that one was indeed true based on some of the live streams I've seen. But it's not too late. You can take the classes, you can learn, you can follow us on Facebook and watch the show. And there are lots of great ways to learn how to live stream. Of course, the best way is just to do it. It would. I also predicted that webinars would have more and more video elements to them and not just be PowerPoint presentations. And I think we're seeing that come to true. In fact, everything has more video in it, even if it's just a little 10-second clip. I also said that thousands of people will begin to live stream and then stop because it's hard. And I think that's still true. I think there's still a lot of people that would like to do this, and they've kind of bumped their head against their ceiling, or they've tripped, or they've stumbled, whatever euphemism we want to give to it. Live streaming can be difficult, especially if you're not a techie, if you don't get that stuff. And there's some things out there, some products out there that make it super, super easy. Of course, you give up a lot of power and flexibility when you let somebody else make all the decisions for you. But I think that one came true too. My 9th prediction was that there'd be lots of so-called experts emerge that will purport to be coaches of live streaming after they've done it for a few months themselves, and that they would do that for lots of dough. And I saw some of that during 2017, but I didn't see as much of it as I expected, frankly. And part of it may be that I'm just not in a place to see it, but maybe it just didn't happen. Maybe the industry has gotten to that point where the get-rich-quick folks have moved on to something else. Let's hope that. And the last prediction was that business professionals will begin to make live streaming a keystone in their public relations and media campaigns. And I think we're seeing that more and more as people are valuing the immediacy and the cutting edge of live versus something that is pre-recorded and so polished. So, okay, so enough of that. So I give myself kind of a 50-50 score for 2017. Let's see if we can do better in 2018. So let's bring in, with no further ado, well, maybe we can have some further ado. Let's see if we've got a drum roll here. Yes, there we go. The top 5, and I limited myself to 5. The top 5 2018 live streaming predictions. That's right. What are we going to do in 2018 that we haven't done before or that may be different somehow? Well, number 1, I think even more people will discover live streaming, not just to watch, but as a streamer. And they will use their phone or their tablet or whatever they've got hanging around, and they will discover the exciting part of doing live streaming. And they will maybe do their son's football game or their daughter's recital, or they'll live stream at church. Then they'll decide that they need to move up and get the right gear for the job. So that's going to be fun, and I look forward to seeing more and more. And I feel pretty confident. I feel pretty confident in this one. We'll see. I think my prediction for 2018 is that PTZ Optics will release its NDI upgrade for the PTZ cameras. We've been waiting. We've been waiting. So I predict that in 2018 it will happen. I also predict, as kind of a corollary, a 2B in this case, this is 2A, so we'll go to 2B, that Bird Dog TV will finally ship the studio, that little device that attaches to a HDMI or SDI camera and turns it into full NDI. I think that in 2018 those will ship and they will be available for people to use. They may already be shipping. My apologies to that group for poking fun at you. But, you know, you did announce it and you did take pre-orders like a year and a half ago. I will give my hat tip to PTZ Optics is that they did not take pre-orders on their NDI cameras and their NDI upgrades, even though here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting we did, so that we could get in line, because we wanted to be at the beginning of the line as much as we could when the NDI stuff was released. We didn't want to be number 57th on the list. We wanted to be number 4. So we'll see if that was the case, that we got to be number 4 or not. Third thing is, I think more and more churches will embrace live streaming. I know I said that last year, but I think it's even more true this year, as more and more churches, they're seeing other churches do it, and they're thinking about it, they're thinking it through, and they're realizing, hey, you know, this is a real ministry, not just to folks outside of the church, but to folks inside the church. For folks that are sick, or have a sick child, or are traveling, or just can't get out of bed and get to church anymore for whatever the reason. The live stream is going to be a great way to keep your body, the church body, intact in ways that we never ever had before. And so I'm delighted and excited that more and more churches are going to embrace live streaming. They're going to incorporate it into their ministry. They're going to figure out how to touch as many different people in as many different places in a really, really positive way. And so I'm excited about that. I sat down with a local church here before Christmas and worked with them on a vMix system that we placed there for them. And to see, you know, I think the average age of the folks I was working with was like, 73, maybe less, maybe more. But they were so excited about what they were doing and the fact that, people would be able to see what was going on, and they could taste just a little bit of what it was like to go to that church without maybe risking going in the door and feeling trapped or something like that. So they could see if it was a safe place. And I'm just thrilled, especially for churches. I think it's a God-ordained technology for churches to use. But a word of caution: if you are representing a church and you're thinking about doing live streaming at your church, people are down on what they're not up on. So make sure everybody in the church is up on this idea. You never know when somebody in the church is hiding out from an abusive spouse or is in a witness protection program or whatever the case may be is. And being on live video or even recorded video, it could be the most terrifying thing in the world for them. So if you encounter some resistance, be kind of gentle with that resistance. And you know, try to work things out. Don't put up a sign that says we're live streaming, you know, whether you like it or not. That's not the way to handle it. Even though it may be technically, you know, a public place and legally you could get away with that, I don't know that that's the way we want to handle it. So be gentle with folks, but move forward with it at all good speed. Number 4, yes indeed. I predict that net neutrality will become the answer to a trivia question. What happened back in 2015 that got undone in 2017 with the Federal Communications Commission? Why, it was net neutrality. I remember back then. Now, with all the bandwidth problems that I'm having today on my internet, maybe I'm being throttled and don't even know it, but it does kind of tickle me that I would have a problem with that today after making this prediction this morning, that net neutrality will be the answer to a trivia question. If you don't know what net neutrality is, then you're going to miss that question when it comes about. And my last prediction for 2018 is that vMix will win its first Streaming Media Magazine award. And they've come very close the last couple of years. The installed base of vMix is not what other programs are, like TriCast or Wirecast or things like that. Just because vMix has come on the scene so recently in so many ways, especially here in the U.S. And so, you know, for those of you that are vMix users, you know, keep your eye out next fall when the Streaming Media Magazine announces its media awards, and make sure you get in on it and vote. We want to make sure that this wonderful software that we know and love is going to be assigned the trophy and the crown that it so richly deserves. And of course, Martin and Tim and Beverly and the whole gang behind vMix. So that is my predictions for 2018. That we'll have to look back a year from now and see how well we do on. It is indeed. It's going to be an interesting year. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be an interesting year, and I'm hoping that all of you will be a big part of it. So let's see, where are we here with all that? 2018 coming at us full bore. You know, it's going to mean a lot of changes in some ways. It may mean that that we do more of what we're already doing, but that it's better, it's deeper, it's richer, that we become more skilled in what we're doing so that we can figure out, like apparently I can't, how to get that little scroll going across the bottom there. I ran out of time today, and I think I set it up, but didn't set it up properly. So it's a combination of shortcuts and multi-views, and apparently I don't have it where I need to have it, but that's neither here nor there. 2018 also has a tremendous amount of potential, because there are going to be so many more people that are going to be coming into live streaming for the first time. Those of you that are already doing it, here's an idea. Don't view those people as competition. View those people as colleagues. View those people as co-laborers, with the concept that they are not going to take some of your pie, but that together with you, they are going to make the pie bigger. And so if they are coming into live streaming, and yeah, they may decide to live stream football and, you know, the thing, but at some point people say, okay, well, there's more. You know, if we're just talking about sports, you know, there's a coach's show that can go on Thursday night. What a tremendous opportunity there. And then there are post-game interviews that we can do, and then we can wrap it all up as a recap show on Tuesdays, and so many ways to begin to repurpose the live video into recorded video, or to have a call-in show where you're playing some of the videos and people are calling in and commenting on it, where former players are calling in with vMix call from other parts of the country to talk about their experience when they played for that team. There's so many opportunities there. The folks that are creative and know their craft are not really going to have to worry, I don't think. Yeah, there may be somebody that comes in and says, I'll do it for 10 cents on the dollar, but they'll only do that a time or two. They won't be there for long. They won't have long legs. They won't have long roots. The folks that are creative and are dedicated will be the ones that survive. And those of you that are charging for what you're doing, let me give you a piece of unsolicited advice as we close out the show. Raise your prices. That's right. That's what I said. I said raise your prices. Don't cut your prices. You're probably worth more than what you're charging already. So raise your prices. And two things will happen. This is prediction number 6 for 2018. Two things that'll happen. One is you'll lose business. The business where people are so very price conscious and they're not so quality conscious, they will go to the lower priced person and they will get the lower quality product. And you will have extra time. You will have extra creative time. You'll have extra time to sharpen your saw. You remember the 7 habits of highly effective people? That's one of them. Sharpen your saw. Go learn something you didn't already know, or learn more about something that you already know. And it also gives you time to take on more complicated, more complex projects that take more work and take more skill and take more expertise, for which you can charge a premium. So when you give up that $300 gig and you get that $1,200 gig in its place, you'll get what I'm talking about. Yep, there you go. Okay, so I've gone from preaching to meddling, but that's okay. It's my show. But I'm delighted to have you with me on it today. And as we close up and move into the post-show, I do want to give a big shout out to all the folks that are watching in chat and having a big time, and to all of you that have been supporting us this past year, 2017. A great year in growth for Eastern Shore Broadcasting, and we look forward to another great year in 2018. So I think that's gonna be all there is. So I wish you a Merry Christmas. We're still in the 12 days of Christmas. And a Happy New Year and a prosperous New Year. And if I can help you in any way, let me know. Glad to help. We'll see you next time.